Hello, I'm Erik Hunter, and this is Behind the Curtain. Here we showcase student productions, whether it be short films for class, personal projects, or even a feature film. Today on our Season 4 finale, we're discussing the brand new series Newsworthy, which, fun fact, was shot in this very studio. Newsworthy is a mockumentary-style dramatic comedy that gives us a behind-the-scenes look at the drama that unfolds after the cameras cut and the mics fade at the fictitious Jameson University Student News. We'll be joined by Andrew Briggs, the producer, writer, director, editor, camera operator, and music composer of the series, plus some of the cast members. This series is out now on the IUSTV YouTube and Instagram pages, so go watch it, then come back to hear more about how it was made. Please welcome to the show Andrew Briggs, Sadie O'Connor, Irini Stavropoulos, and Nicole Alpazar. Thanks so much for being on the show, you guys. I appreciate it, Andrew, Sadie, Irini.
Oh, no. You got it.
Thanks so much for being on the show. I'm glad I could shake hands with you guys. Thank you, Andrew. I'm excited to talk about this show. This is my last show, so I'm going to say this now because I think I can. This is one of the few submissions I've actually been entertained by. So I'm excited to talk about this with you guys. And I guess let's just start with the first question. Andrew, this is sort of directed at you, but if you think you know better, you can interrupt him.
I can add to it.
Awesome, wonderful. Where did the, inspiration for this come from, if you can pinpoint a specific?
Inspiration, like I've had an idea for a series like this for a while. I've always wanted to do like more of a scripted series for IUSTV, but it's just a lot of damn work. Like get together actors and a whole crew and everything, whereas like these shows that we do here in studio, they're really easy to kind of, we need a crew, we have our talent, they're easy to put together. And so I was like, I've always wanted to do more scripted stuff. And so I'm a grad student here, and so I did this series as my capstone project. Inspiration of just kind of, I've been a part of IUSTV for 5 years now. I've been to so many tapings, and I'm like, that would make a fun like story idea. Like not that anything's directly inspired, like not that the characters, besides Fred, are based off anyone. Which Fred is kind of, a little bit of an extension of me, I would say, but everyone else kind of, or just like, things that I've sort of, not done, I guess, but just, things I've experienced. I just knew like fun ways that I wanted to like, if we were able to shoot in here, to use the studio, and like do things like that, but it was just like, I knew also shooting here would be easier than doing stuff out in the field and everything like that, so I was like, let's like, do that.
Right.
And that's gonna.
Well, I really enjoyed the mockumentary style of it. I like the handheld, the little pop zooms on impactful pieces of dialogue. I got real Succession vibes from this. I don't know if you took direct influence from that show or not.
I do love Succession. Been watching the final season. Great stuff. Love Succession. I think, not that I took direct inspiration from Succession, but I think I did want to do longer takes on things because I knew that, I wanted to like be in the moment with the characters, be in the moments with the actors, because also like, the behind the scenes of new stuff, things can get kind of hectic, and so I wanted to, do those like kind of longer continuous takes in order to, try to have some energy of that. And also, I'm not the biggest fan of like a lot of cuts of like quick back and forth cuts and stuff, and also like longer takes makes it easy to edit, easier to edit, which is great because there's 6 episodes, and I'm still finishing editing them. The longer takes have been nice where I can be like, I have this take of this is the part of the script. I got to pick one of the versions we did. Great, boom, move on to the next part of the thing.
I really enjoy the long takes. I really do. And that's another thing that's reminiscent of Succession. And I think you've pulled it off really well, especially in the, you have a lot of arguments in this show. That's a big part of the show. And the initial argument between Fred and your character, Sadie, Catherine McNulty, you're scary in that. You're very scary.
I'm so glad.
You're so good. And I think the cinematography of it all, the whip pans back and forth and you trying to find focus. I love the subjective camera movements. It's like you're right there. It's so scary. And it's awesome. I really enjoyed it though. It was really cool.
Yeah, definitely, Sadie definitely brought it every time. I mean, everyone, I was so lucky to have the cast that I did. And finding them was, we held auditions in the fall, and we also did like.
Let's talk about that. Do you have any people that just bombed or?
No, so so the way we did auditions was in the fall. we did like an open casting call because we were casting for like my capstone project as well as the BFA films. So like, you know, Tristan was on the show earlier this season with his film. So we did an open casting call for like all of those projects. And then, yeah, everyone came in. We asked them to do like a comedic monologue, dramatic monologue. Nice. And then I did callbacks. So like everyone here got a callback. But yeah, I had callbacks. Like I had a couple of people in mind for each role. Funnily enough, I didn't originally have Irini in mind for the role of Natalie initially for some weird reason. But then I think, I was like Lisa and maybe Catherine. And then when we did the callback, I was like, oh, hey, can you actually like also read for this role too? And I know you were like, oh, okay, sure. And then I'm really happy, that you did that. And I was like, oh yeah, you know, I think actually a Natalie is what it was of how it figured out. But yeah, like cast chemistry was so great. Like I think pretty decent casting director, I guess, could maybe be an option, another option for me after school. But yeah, the casters had great chemistry. Like they brought it each and every day. Like shooting was tough of just like, we had 6 episodes, we had so many scenes. We had to get it all done I wanted to finish by the end of the fall semester. So we literally started shooting beginning of November and then finished like the week of finals. Right. And then we also had Thanksgiving break in there, and we also had scheduling. Because I tried to keep the cast small, but then the way, as I was writing the series, I tried to keep it small because I knew, don't have to find a whole bunch of actors to do all of this. But then, I think as far as the main cast, there's like 7 or 8, but like everyone's schedules were open enough. But then I know like Alex, who played Fred, wasn't available like the week before Thanksgiving, so that's when we shot the interview with Irini and Bobby. And I also have a couple guest actors that came on for episodes and stuff. But just really great. Do you want to touch? How is it working together, like as a cast, and what was the experience like kind of for you guys?
I think you guys have stellar on-screen chemistry. I mean, like the way you guys play off of each other, it's so entertaining to watch. And I'm sad that Steven, who plays Steven, could not be here because
which names are spelled differently.
Names
are spelled differently. Like Steven, I did that on purpose because like Steven with a PH, I feel like is, I don't know, not necessarily more arrogant or whatever, but like, I don't know. I don't
it
like.
Definitely is though.
It definitely just a little bit more pretentious. I don't like Steven with a V, like
and
how
he's
the actor's
evil.
name.
His character's really evil. He's like a Tucker Jr. on that show. He's so scary, and I think the way you guys deal with him and the way you guys just brush all his BS off your shoulder, I think it's awesome. So
I was joking with Steven the other day after the first episodes came out because he was making a bunch of memes like of screen caps of the episodes that have come out, and we were joking that if we ever do future seasons, we should do some sort of like time jump where they're all working in some sort of field of politics. And we decided that Steven would probably be a candidate for something, and I think Catherine would be very good in the FBI. And I feel like if they do a time, I feel like Fred is a candidate for something, and Catherine is just investigating him because he has done something, and Catherine's going to find out.
Oh my God! That
it's
would
about
be
like
so
Fred
great.
trying to do a cover up, and Catherine trying to
Fred
catch
should
him.
be like a spy or like you're tracking Fred or like you're a bounty hunter for.
That would be
That'd
great.
be fun. Don't tempt me.
We just came up with a new spin-off.
We just came up, we'll spin it off. Like I know.
Yes.
Yeah, it's undecided if I'm gonna be here yet next fall, but are you graduate? Sorry.
No, I have one more year.
You have one more year. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll let you guys know after what's going on. But
so, do you guys ever have brainstorming sessions that just happen on a whim, just like this one? Or how much control do you guys get over your characters before the cameras start rolling?
I could say personally that it was a lot of how our characters interacted. Like I know that we met and we talked. Specifically, our characters were like, okay, we are united over the fact that we do not like Steven. And like you mentioned earlier, there's a lot of arguments on the show. My character Lisa just purposely stays out of it, so she like forms a lot of those relationships. So a lot of the character building was very one-on-one, and we had a lot of freedom to take whatever we wanted to do with it.
Yeah, I definitely gave them a lot of freedom because we didn't have a lot of time. Like we did do some rehearsals and stuff. We did blocking and everything, but as far as like really getting in with character work, we didn't have too much time for that. So I definitely trusted them to bring whatever they were going to bring to the character. And like if which I loved everything that everyone brought. So
we had a lot of conversations
about
I know character development.
We did as well with like Catherine and Fred and stuff like that, kind of like, because also the 6th episode wasn't written until we were like shooting it at the beginning of December, because I had the first 4 pretty well set, and we did table read for that. for those 4. And then 5 was pretty well. Like I had the interview. Oh yeah, spoilers I guess because the episodes aren't out yet, but like not 2 spoilers. But there's an interview with the University official in episode
You're gonna
5.
have to find out.
Yeah, we mentioned
I
season 2.
asked not season 2, episode 2.
Oh.
I asked.
Yes.
Fred
You
about
do.
it.
There are little, if you do pay attention, there are things do come back. It's about, like you mentioned.
Interview with the president.
The interview with the president, yes, that does come
I look
back.
forward
I
to that.
did.
Yeah.
It's a good
It's a
one.
good scene.
Yeah, it's a really good scene. Really, Irini was amazing in that. Also, Bobby, who guest acted on that, we came in and did that. Really happy with the way that came out because they talk about a serious topic that affects college campuses. Which, if you pay attention during the series, it'll be mentioned. And I think episode 3 as well too. Yeah, pay attention. There are some. Yeah, there's maybe like some motifs and like.
Okay.
Yeah, there's some creative things. So like, if you pick up on stuff, like I feel like I tried to purposefully. Everything that's included is there with a purpose. So
I think it's really cool that you have given your actors the freedom to sort of run with these
wouldn't have it any other way.
I think that decision is fully culminated on stage. It's so natural the way you guys interact with each other. It's very entertaining to watch. I've really enjoyed watching this. And as of whenever we air this episode, I think only the first 3 episodes will be out. So I don't want to give too much away.
Yeah.
But I love the chemistry. I especially love the dynamic, Sadie, between you and Fred. Who plays Fred?
His name's Alex.
Alex.
He's abroad this
He's in
semester.
Spain.
Okay.
We are in touch over Instagram
That's
and phone,
awesome.
but I haven't seen him since
Because you
January.
guys are constantly just like, it's a power struggle between you.
Yes.
And I especially love the conversation you have. Where
Just you wait.
They're a very good
Okay.
Just you wait. I know you said you've only watched the first
very
3.
excited.
I love when he
Just
interrupts
you
you
wait.
and he says, I don't even remember the line specifically, but he says baseball is America's
Oh, yeah.
pastime, bowling's the future, and you don't even know what the hell he just said.
I think that was improvised because it was just such an odd thing
Really?
for Fred to say.
I think that was a line. Or I think I did write that line, but
You
I
wrote
think he
that
definitely
within-
he might have added a little
Credit
bit
where
of
credit
something
is
to it.
due.
But not to be like, oh, I'm the genius here. I did all of it. I'm to blame. No.
How much improvisation has made it to the final cut of these first 3 episodes, I guess?
I think in the first 3, I think it's pretty solid, kept to script.
Was your line, hey bitch, stop running and get what's coming, was that
scripted.
improvised?
That was scripted.
That
That
was
is 100% scripted.
That
It
was
just
scripted,
felt so
yeah.
natural.
In there
Yeah,
from
I
draft
did
one.
in there from draft 1. Yeah, I was like, oh, like that's a not bad enough cuss word that I could not slip it by our censors. Not that IOC has censors or anything.
Kenny.
But yeah, a little bit. It's like,
No,
we're
I don't think Kenny
online and
cares.
stuff. Like
Right.
I kept it clean enough of like, oh, yeah, like that word isn't the
Yeah.
F word.
And I
or
mean,
it's
he
like,
knocked up two people and cheated on somebody, so I mean, I think that was a
Yeah,
deserved
which it was.
insult. Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, I guess I want to pick each of your minds individually. Do you guys have a favorite scene that you've shot so far? And it doesn't have to be in the first 3 episodes. You can.
Yeah, you can
talk
make like
about
we
if
shot
that's
it all,
not aired
but
yet.
yeah, whatever if it hasn't aired. But yeah, whoever wants to start, I'll let you guys.
I really liked working with Bobby. I mean, I always see him in the MFA productions at the theater school.
Yeah, so
Episode 5.
For those who don't know, Bobby, he's an
Yeah.
MFA actor in the theater school. Yeah, it's okay, because since the episode's out, but yeah, he plays a university official, in the episode, and yeah, he's really great as well too. So yeah, really excited for people to see that scene.
And that episode was just like,
It's a great scene
all
for
one
you.
take pretty much.
Yeah.
Just a lot of
Is that episode
text.
4?
That's gonna be episode 5 because like we did.
Okay.
So yeah, we
Yeah.
shot the interview in our. I'm pointing to the chairs in our studio, which people who watch our shows know where I'm pointing to. But yeah, we did the interview there. We had the camera set up, and then I was in there, technical directing it. But basically, yeah, we did the scene like 4 to 5 times straight through. I think I'm using the first one.
The first one?
That we did.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first take, because I feel like they just have a great moment at the end that I won't spoil. But I felt like we didn't. I think it was just ad lib, but like it was just in the moment sort of thing. And I was like, oh damn, that's really good. So I think I ended up going with first take for that one. Yeah.
Well, one take wonder, you know.
One take wonder. Yeah, we did a lot of yeah. There's lots of we did a lot of
Episode 4 has a one take that's how long?
Yeah, so
entire
episode
episode?
4, the
The entire
entire
episode.
episode is a one
Insane.
take. I had that idea as I was writing it, and I was like, oh, hey, what about a one take as an episode?
Why not?
Why not?
It's not hard.
Why not? Like I don't think it's that. Like it wasn't like it was difficult, obviously, because you have to you have to sync so many things up. Because like we started in here, we went out in the hallway, went down the stairs out there, came back in the control room, came back in here.
Any fumbles?
Down.
Any sound recorders fall down the stairs? Anything
We didn't,
like
yeah. So
Actors fall down the stairs.
that? An actor fell down the stairs?
Ooh.
No, not
Isn't it scripted? Isn't Fred?
Oh, okay. We originally had it where Fred was gonna fall down the stairs at the end.
Oh, you cut. Okay,
but then
that's
it was
good.
like, it was hard to like make that like look kind of realistic.
Yeah.
Because I also didn't want to hurt Alex.
You don't want to push Alex
I didn't want Alex
downstairs.
to hurt himself either. So yeah, that we just ended up like, oh, he just goes straight to the elevator at the end of that. But yeah, that was a whole one take. And yeah, just a lot of coordination with all of that. But I thought, yeah, it was really fun because yeah, I wanted to like be in the moment of like what happens at a news taping or like just a studio taping in general because like that stuff, yeah, lots can go wrong as it does in episode 4, and then Fred has to like cover for a lot of different things, and it's just like, yeah, Alex, kudos to Alex because he was, yeah, I'm pretty sure he's on camera for like the whole damn, he's on camera for the whole damn thing.
I look forward to seeing that. Fred's character I find very interesting because we are starting to see, and I want to ask you guys your favorite scene too here in a second, but I got off
so much
topic.
to talk about.
Because Fred he has morals that he's trying to adhere to, but ratings are up now after Steven starts to go off the rails a little bit, and I'm excited to see if Fred is going to have his Howard Beale moment from Network where he like threatens to kill himself on air or something like that, or just something insane. So that's the way I see Fred's character going. Not him committing suicide, but him compromising his morals.
It's definitely a tricky situation. Yeah, with Fred, like he's the way I would describe him is like he's doing things for him. He believes he's doing things for like the right reasons, maybe, or like trying to go. But then he feels like in his mind he's doing things the way they should be done, like on a moralistic, like journalistic integrity type of standpoint. But then the way he's going about doing those things is maybe not the best way to be going about those things. So that's where it's kind of, So that was a conversation about, when I wrote episode 6, and like I had a meeting with everyone that got on Zoom. It's like, hey, I'm unsure where I want this to end because, I had the idea of like, oh, is it a negative arc for Fred, or like does it end bad for Fred? Does he like deserve forgiveness at all for any of the things that he does throughout the series? And then, we kind of talked it over, and I feel like, I was kind of like, oh, yeah, he deserves, like, even though he's done, not necessarily he's done bad, terrible things, but, like, he, like, hurt the people that he worked with. So that's
Sadie's giving you a look right now.
Oh, geez, what was the look?
Well, I have a different,
Please,
I have a slightly different perspective on Fred, because, I mean, from the beginning when I got the script, Catherine is Fred's primary antagonist, and as the series went on, she was really developing into a co-protagonist and more of like a foil to Fred. And so, as we were doing the script work and as we were looking more at like, okay, what does she want him to do? She wants him to be held accountable for all the stuff that he's done. And so as we continued to go down that path, and as Fred does darker and darker things to try to hold on to the power that he has and what he wants the show to be, and his intentions are very good, but like Andrew said, the way of going about them is not great, and it's going to get worse as the series goes on. And so Catherine's main job in the plot is to be a check on that. She's the only person who has the authority and the ability to sort of match him. So I'm very excited for you guys to see those later scenes because they really go head to head later on.
They do. Yeah.
Put that on top. Whether Fred, just takes the whole network down a spiral while Catherine silently eats her baby carrots, or if she like holds him accountable. I don't know who to root for because I like you guys both so much.
You can't eat baby carrots silently though. You do.
Oh, no.
But I do it like she stews.
You made me do like very loud carrots.
I did once because I wanted that sound.
It was jarring.
I wanted that sound, and I got baby carrots, which because I don't like baby carrots, so I was like, oh god, I hope
you don't like baby carrots.
I don't like baby carrots, so like I hope, or I don't like carrots really.
We're learning a lot.
Is your eyesight bad?
Baby, but I was like, oh gosh, I hope you like carrots.
It doesn't matter if I like carrots. It's in the script.
I know, but I didn't want to make someone eat carrots if they didn't like carrots, because I guess because you gotta look.
Before we get to least favorite vegetables, Sadie, favorite scene if you had to pinpoint one.
I think you haven't seen them yet. Because I think there are two, because all of my scenes pretty much, with the exception of some at the end, are with Fred. And so I shot the first 3 episodes in one day because it was all office scenes with Fred. And then after that, I think there's an episode 3 scene that I really liked because it's the turning point where Catherine decides, like, okay, this is war now. And so I really like that shift. I like that she kind of turns on, like, you think she's scary, now she's going to get scarier. And I'm here for it. I love it. I love it. She's scary.
Forgot about that, actually. No.
It's a good scene. I'm looking forward to
it's coming out.
But I think my favorite scene would probably be there's a very long scene at the end of the show. I don't know if it's episode 5 or 6.
I think hopefully it might, as of right now, it's beginning of episode 6, but
Yes, so
could
you'll have
potentially
to
be
wait
end of
for
episode
it,
5.
but
Yeah. Might be split in two.
it's a very intense and very, it's a very driving sort of pivotal scene for the show. And I don't want to spoil too much about what's going to happen, but things really come to a head, and a lot of interesting things get discussed. A lot of power shifts back and forth very quickly, and it's exciting. And also, that was the scene where we got the script like a day before we shot that scene, possibly the day of.
So bad on
Just
me,
like
terrible on me.
monologue after monologue.
Literally, like I had a version of it, and then we talked and met, and we had
drafted,
notes. I had another one, and then it was like, oh, it doesn't feel right. So I rewrote again. Then whatever. We also, I think you guys, not that you necessarily ad-libbed, but like what was on the page wasn't necessarily everything that got covered. But I was
long
like,
takes of
Right.
it
monologue
was.
back
We
and
did
forth.
just do long takes of it because I felt like and then we did eventually get down to where I did do some single takes to like cut it up a little bit at the end of it. But so shame on me in that. That's how we shot episode 6. Episode 6, like they got the scenes literally the morning of.
Yeah.
I think I gave you at least had a little bit of a draft or knew what it was kind of
I
going to be
knew
about.
what had to happen.
Like like you two have a scene, and then there's like Fred's scene with everyone in the control room here, studio, and then there's there's little scenes with the characters, and so I think I had here's what the scene's kind of going to be about, and I know when we got here and shot it, it was like we ran it a little bit, and it's like okay, what do we feel? Because I was like because I'm like there's so much going on, and it was just like right, doing a whole bunch of stuff. It's like, I had barely time to write stuff, and it was like, okay, here's words on a page.
But in
like
a way,
when we get there,
it made it easier.
Yeah.
Because at that point, Alex and I had been working together for so long. Most of my scenes are with him, and so we had developed a real sense of like who these two are and how they interact with each other. And so even though we had just gotten the scripts that day, and even though it was monologue after monologue, and it was like a 9-minute scene. We were, at that point, it was just kind of us going back and forth to each other. So it was really just like Catherine and Fred were there, and we were interacting as Catherine and Fred. And that was a really cool way to shoot things.
Yeah, I definitely trusted, them to, like I said, bring whatever they were going to bring the characters. And that's where it's like, I wanted their input as well. Yeah, I wanted their input as well, because they know their characters. I mean, I know what I think about their characters, but I also feel like as actors, like I have done acting before. And I did, make a cameo in the first episode.
Almost within the first 60 seconds.
Almost within the first, pretty much, That's my one, I didn't, it's not because does director and everything do a cameo? I was like, we didn't have anyone. I was like, I'll do it if we couldn't find
director,
anyone.
sound recordist, writer, and also
producer
score.
And editor and score and
Many hats.
did many.
And how has that been, balancing all those roles? Because I would be, I think, just a ball of anger and stress on set if I had to do all that.
I don't think, I don't know. I remember Alex said to me after our first shoot of not the first day we did that, but first studio day where we shot episode 2 and then we didn't get to all of episode 3. He was like, you're handling it pretty well. And I'm like, I wasn't, I wasn't too nervous or too, didn't feel pressure. I forget exactly what he said to me, but I was like, should I be? Or not that I'm confident in everything that happened, but I was just like, it was just really fun to do this series. And I did a lot of it because it was just like, I can do it, sure, which is not, definitely have, more help than I had.
And I understand that you guys have also fulfilled roles as crew members, right?
Yes.
I could be a crew member now.
She did boom for one scene, which also fun for Nicole. She was actually directing some of the studios. So when I had her, she was doing definitely method.
Right,
she was
directing.
She was directing. So for the debate scene that happens in episode 2,
that's my favorite scene.
She was calling the takes as we were doing it because I basically gave her some instruction here's what you can do. But then it was pretty much up to her of what would take and stuff. But for the debate, it's kind of whoever's talking, be on them for that and everything. But she did some she did some directing and method as the director on the show. Within the show,
Right.
That's right. But
and that debate scene was my favorite. I loved how deadpan and stupid Derek was.
Parking.
He was so hilarious. What?
Parking.
Yeah,
parking.
parking.
Yeah,
Parking.
that
That's my
in one
favorite line.
succinct word.
Yeah.
Parking.
I guess there was some ad lib in that episode. Yeah, his parking thing. I think I discussed it with him. I was just you can say parking, and then however else long you want to talk about parking and do that, as well as Amala.
You didn't want to talk about it for long.
Yeah, as well as Amala, she.
I have a job, I'm done.
Yeah, she at the end had to just keep kind of talking because, like, yeah, I have it. We cut back and forth between happening in here in the studio as well as going in the control room, which I'm a big fan of my editing. I'll brag about my editing. I think it's pretty good editing of like making sure the whatever they were saying when we cut back in there, it's literally like picks up right off, so you don't like miss a word.
I was never lost. You never took me out.
Yeah, so like I know she at the end as like Fred and Nally are like walking out and stuff, I just told her like, oh, we had stuff scripted up to a point, and then it would go to her because Steven asked her like, oh, what's your greatest weakness? And so she's kind of like, what kind of question is that? That's a line she says, I believe. No, that's a line you say in the control. So many lines. But she just had to like ad-lib that. So like as you hear her, and then at the end of episode 2, the scene where Fred walks in and we hear her, that's all ad-libbed of stuff. And then Fred comes in and looks angry.
Yes.
And then I put some fun strings underneath and was like a roar. Because just wait, you've seen episode 3, but episode 3 hopefully will be out when this episode airs. Beginning of episode 3 is where, a big confrontation is going to happen, but there's more big ones to come too. And everything.
I look forward to seeing that. And that debate scene is my favorite. And before we wrap, I haven't forgotten, Nicole, favorite scene?
I would say most of my favorite scenes are much like my character when other moments are happening and I just like kind of sit back and watch everyone. There's a specific scene in, I believe, episode 2 that just came out where Idini's character is like, what do we do? And I think we shot that one line like 5 times. So I just love watching that scene back because I just have such fond memories of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But besides that, favorite scene definitely in the one take when we come into the studio and you see me just trying to like hold down the fort for whatever's happening.
Yeah, I really liked your and Alex's scene in episode 5 at the beginning of that, where like you're in the control room and like that was one that we just did static. I set up 2 cams, and I really like. I don't know. I like my framing on that too as well. I'll brag about myself of what I like about it. But I was just like, oh, I really liked it, and like of what I tried to do with that. But like I really liked that kind of nice scene between like Lisa's trying to just look out for Fred, and Fred's like, I can do it on my own.
I also like that one because that's like one of the few moments that you see Lisa actually express emotion rather than like being
rather
very
than just see the director and be like keeping things on
very
track.
avoidant.
Like what I've said about Lisa as well is like, she's like, I think the way I like described her when I ever had to write about her, someone's like, she's like there. Like you may not see her, but like her presence is kind of felt of like, she's the director, she's keeping things on track as stuff goes.
That was kind of something that came up like as a cast too, I think, especially when we were shooting that scene at the end. There is a scene at the end that I can't tell you about yet, but Catherine and Natalie get together and talk about some stuff. But we started talking about how like the community of the cast is such sort of a family in general, and everybody kind of has a role that they play in the story. Not just in terms of like a plot perspective, but in terms of like how they operate in a high stress environment. And so one of the things that came up was the way that the women on the show are not that like, they don't talk as much as some of the other characters do, but they get things done. And they're really good at what they do. And I think it's over the process of the show, you learn to appreciate them more than maybe people do at the beginning.
I did make sure to have strong women characters. Like I made sure the director was a woman, head of JUS TV is a woman, awesome anchor, I definitely, the men, I'm not that I'm a misandrist, but men aren't, I mean, I'm a man, of course, but men are all right. So I definitely, the men are definitely the worst characters, if you call that, but also like everyone's kind of great. Everyone has reasons for doing what they do, and I feel like I started off looking like, Catherine's a foil to Fred. She's not the villain. Like everyone, I didn't look.
Fred wishes she was the villain.
Fred maybe thinks of her as the villain.
She's got more to her than that.
She maybe gives off a villain vibe sometimes, but it's like that. And I know we have to wrap up. I've been looking at the time and make sure we have everything.
You good?
I felt like the men are.
Any closing foreshadowing of the upcoming episodes, or do you want to leave us in?
Hopefully. So it's like this episode comes out today if you're watching it on the Tuesday. Hopefully episode 3 is out by now. And then hopefully, episode 4, 5, 6 will follow pretty closely after its finals week this week when you're gonna watch this episode. So hopefully another episode comes out later this week, and then over the weekend, and hopefully next, hopefully.
Right.
Hopefully all that, but definitely watch. Definitely if you see this now and you haven't started watching it, go. But you can binge it.
Yeah, they're
First
bite-sized
two-
episodes.
Yeah, they're really, yeah.
they're
the
very-
longest episode, yeah, it's like they're 10 to 15 minutes. The later ones will get a little bit longer. But yeah, it's just a really fun, cool thing that's like different that I've never seen done at the media school. Like that's another reason why I decided to do a series. Because like, oh, we've seen films. Everyone does a film, but I was like, oh, no one's ever done like a series.
Right.
It's nice to be able to watch the characters grow over
Yeah,
time.
like I wanted to tell a complete story over the course of a series versus in like just a pilot or like in a film.
Film schmilm series is what
Film
it's at.
schmilm. Yeah. I mean, that's how I kind of, with TV now, it's like, oh yeah, people used to be like, movie stars didn't do TV, but it's not like, oh, TV is a place where, yeah, you can like explore and do all that. But yeah, so definitely check it out if you're finding out about the series now. If you stumble upon a later episode, totally
Check it out.
Go back
Worth
to all
watching.
of that. And yeah, and I do just want to thank them for coming on here as well as the entire cast because yeah, like couldn't have done it without you guys, obviously. But just, yeah, really appreciate all the time and hard work that you put into this.
It shows on screen. I can see the hard
I'm
work.
not going to cry right now.
Don't cry. I'll cry too.
No, it's okay.
We'll wrap it quick.
We're gonna, yeah,
Thank
we're
you
gonna
guys
wrap it, yeah.
so much for coming on the show. I look forward to seeing how your characters develop. I look forward to seeing how much stronger you all get and watching you put down these scary male characters, especially Steven. I want him to get his comeuppance.
Yeah.
I really do. And I look forward to seeing if you'll come back to call somebody a bitch again. I think that'll be really entertaining. And,
No, oh yeah, there. I'll spoil that. I'll spoil that. I do not make another cameo appearance.
Okay. Well, season
But-
2, look for it.
Season 2 maybe.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah.
Well,
yeah.
thank you so much, Andrew,
That's.
Sadie, for coming on the show.
Oh yeah.
We can
Good.
there we go.
Thank you so much. I appreciate
cool.
it.
Yeah.
And
But
thank
before we go, sorry, I do just want to say thank you to Erik. This is Eric's last show. He is graduating.
Yeah.
He's been. I remember the first time that I met you. You came to a Not Too Late taping over in Studio 5. You were on crutches.
I was on crutches
You were on
and I was
crutches,
completely
and
wet
you were-
because it was raining.
And it was raining, yeah. But then like you were going there, and then we had this show come up, and then it was like, oh. are
I
we
was
doing
just an obstacle for the whole crew.
Yeah, and then it's like, oh, are we gonna do a rotating host or not? But then like you came, you host the first episode. I was like, oh, stick around. And like I feel like you've brought just a really fun energy to the show, and it's been great working with you on it. I've loved coming to having you host and everything, and you've been game for everything that we've wanted you to do, especially when we've had guests cancel. We've done fun.
They always
the
have me
fun.
cry on
We
camera.
have him cry on camera and like be like, oh, they don't feed me, and stuff like that. So yeah, I really appreciate all the work that like you've done as hosts of the show. I'm definitely gonna miss you hosting the show next year, and I'm gonna miss you in general because you're just so fun to be around. So I just wanted to,
Thank you, Andrew.
say that
Likewise.
to you.
I'm going to miss you too. I appreciate it. We'll hug after the camera's cut.
We will. We can have when the jib, when we go to the jib shop. But yeah,
Oh,
you
yeah,
can-
that'd be a good
yeah. But you can go ahead. I'll let you wrap up whatever
Okay. Well,
you would like to. Yeah.
thank you guys so much. And to the two people in the control room, thank you
Oh, yes,
for
thank you to
sticking
them,
around.
too.
And thank you for watching. That's there's no prompter right now, so I'm just going to ad-lib this. For the final time, this is Erik Hunter, and this has been Behind the Curtain. Thank you.